So we're standing on a food plot in a property in southeastern Minnesota that we recently acquired. It's about 120 acres of woods, and the purpose of this is for deer hunting mostly. Also, it's kind of an exercise in figuring out what's the best thing to do to attract quality deer and grow some nice trophy bucks. The property doesn't really have a history of good trophy deer, so we're going to try to put some food plots in and do some woodland management and use water as an important part of developing this habitat so that it becomes attractive to the kind of mature bucks that we want to hunt. So today I'm going to focus a little bit on what we're going to do with water on this property to try to make it as attractive as possible. And the first thing we're going to do is install a new product that we developed called the Waterhole. And I'm going to take you through that process a little bit, show you how to transport the Waterhole, how to dig a hole for it if you want to install it in the ground, which it's designed for, how to transport it in a UTV like a Polaris Ranger, which it's designed for, and take you through that whole process. This is the Waterhole. It's a 150-gallon tank that's molded out of high-density polyethylene, and it's black because it has a lot of UV protection in it. It's got a lifetime warranty. It's designed for any type of wildlife to access it. It has a ramp so small critters can get in and out, and it has steps for a variety of different sized animals: deer, raccoon, bear, hogs, elk, whatever. They can get in and out of the tank depending on the water level. So it's designed to be versatile in a lot of different environments. For me, I don't want to be putting water in my tank all the time, so I designed it large enough so that even if you're in a very dry climate, perhaps southwestern United States, Arizona, Texas, places where they don't get a lot of rainfall, you have enough volume in this tank so that you don't have to be filling it all the time. And depending on what the water level is, the animal can access it easily, so it's not a worry whether it gets down to the bottom and you haven't filled it for 8 weeks. We're going to put probably 8 or 9 of these on this 120 acres, and then we're going to monitor what kind of wildlife use we get over time and see and demonstrate to you the value of having this design. Part of the design consideration is, okay, how are you going to get this water hole to wherever you're putting it? Some people might live on the property where they're using it. They might have a place that they have up north or down south that they go just for hunting, so they're going to have to transport this thing wherever they're going to install it. So it's designed to fit into a truck easily, and I'm going to show you. Easy, it's lightweight, I can do it myself, and so we're ready to go to where we're going to install it. Alright, in order to get to our location we had to use the Ranger, and I'll show you in a minute how the Waterhole fits in the back of the Ranger. A lot of people spend a lot of time on habitat for deer and food for deer, putting food plots in, using minerals and mineral blocks, managing woodland habitat or whatever habitat you're in for the animals you're after. Not a lot of attention is paid to water, which is probably one of the most critical parts of the animal's survival. For example, a rutting buck will probably lose weight in the fall because he's eating less and he's chasing doe, but he's drinking the same amount of water or more. A lot of times you won't see these deer during the day because they're reclusive, they're in the woods. The safest place for him to get water is in the woods, and one of the reasons we designed this portable water hole is so you could put water right where the deer feels safe in the woods. Unlike a man-made pond where you require a bulldozer or some other kind of heavy equipment to come in and construct the pond, which typically ends up with a pond out in some open area where the deer don't feel safe until after dark. This you can put at any location in the woods if you can get there with the tank and a shovel or some other means of digging. I like to put this right by my tree stand so I know that deer is going to come specifically to this location. Another advantage of having a smaller water source is if you have a pond, let's say it's a half an acre in size, you might be lucky and have that deer come to you right where you're located on that pond, but more than likely he's going to go to some other part. Same with a food plot. If you put a water hole on a food plot, you know with a higher chance of probability that that deer is going to come to that location at some point on that food plot where your water source is, rather than some other place in the food plot. I've heard a lot of guys talk about how they had this great buck out in the food plot, but they couldn't get a shot because he was too far away, and we're talking mostly about archery hunting at this point. So what we're going to do today is put this water hole next to the edge of a field, mostly so that we can observe it from the place where we're living here. Also, we can get footage to show you that even bucks during this time of year, which is midsummer, will come out in the field during the day to drink out of this water hole. So it took about an hour to dig this hole. The hole in this case is mostly clay soil, so it wasn't easy to dig, but you can see it holds the form now really well. You don't have to support the ramp because typically smaller critters like turkey or pheasants or squirrels or raccoon or mice are going to use the ramp. There's no weight load, and to be honest, this water hole is really well constructed, so it can withstand a lot of weight. If you happen to get cattle in there, it's not going to be a problem. It's a heavy weight construction, high density polyethylene, as I mentioned before. And I'm just going to show you how easy it is to get in the hole. So you want it flush to the ground so the critters can get in and out of there. We're going to go back and we're going to show you a water transport system that we've developed. It's a bladder tank, and we're going to come over here and fill the tank up. So luckily we have a convenient water source here, hook up to the water supply at the house, and we're filling up the bladder. It's 100-gallon capacity, so we can either fill the water hole to 100 gallons or make a couple trips. But basically take the cover off, put in whatever water source you have. If you're in the field, we've got a pump system we're working on so that you can pump out of a stream to fill the tank. And then your exit port here, we have a quick connect, like a fire hose connect. When we get to the water hole, we'll connect the hose and run it out to the water hole. Sometimes I just run it off the tailgate if I can get close enough to it. Otherwise I run a hose. Maybe you're up on a hill and your water hole's down in the woods somewhere and you can't drive to it, so you get a hose and you run it down to the water hole and use gravity if you're lucky. So we transported our water with the Ranger over to the water hole on the edge of the woods here, and we're going to open the spigot and fill the tank. There's about 100 gallons in here. We'll probably have to make 2 trips. And we'll go fill it again. Alright, we're back with our second bladder full. Probably won't quite fill the tank, but get it up close enough so we can leave it and see what the animals do with it.